Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jack Shaw. I've been a technology futurist for over 20 years now. I've written 3 books and speak professionally on the impact of emerging technologies on business. I'm also a co-founder and executive director of the American Blockchain Council. The mission of the American Blockchain Council is quite simply to help senior executives understand the strategic business implications of blockchain technology. This afternoon, I'd like to invite you to join me on a short trip to the near future. It's a beautiful day in London, just a few short years from now. The latest generation of passenger jet pauses for the moment at the end of the runway at Heathrow Airport before being cleared for takeoff on a nonstop flight to Atlanta, Georgia. 3 hours later, far out over the North Atlantic, a sensor embedded in one of its engine's jet fuel injectors detects that the fuel injector has reached a critical point of wear. It'll continue to function properly for the rest of this flight, but for safety purposes, it must be replaced prior to the return flight to London. Now, back in the old days, like 2017, that would have meant taking the aircraft out of service for several hours, probably a day or more. But no longer. Instead, using the Internet of Things circuitry embedded in the jet fuel injector, it communicates its status to the aircraft's autonomous maintenance system, which in turn informs the airline's global maintenance system that the part will have to be replaced on arrival in Atlanta. Now, because this is an expensive part and it rarely needs to be replaced, it's not kept in stock at every airport. Atlanta doesn't have one of those. Again, back in the old days, that would have meant flying the part in from another airport or from a supplier and still further delays. But instead, the airline's global maintenance system sends a requisition for the part to the global procurement system. The global procurement system launches an intelligent procurement agent onto the internet, scouring thousands of sites of potential and current suppliers of this particular part, identifying those who are authorized and certified by the Federal Aviation Administration to deliver a version of this part that works with this engine on this particular aircraft. The intelligent agent then negotiates with the intelligent order management agents of each of those prospective suppliers, identifying one of them who is able to provide that part at the best pricing, terms, and conditions for the airline at that particular point in time. The intelligent procurement agent of the airline and the intelligent order management agent of the supplier then confirm their agreement through the completion and execution of a blockchain-based smart contract. Upon completion of the contract, the first thing the contract does is download from the supplier a blockchain-based copy of the FAA-signed approval certification for this particular part, and upon successful provision of that from the supplier, authorizes the airline's global maintenance system to begin download of the design file for that part to a 3D printer located at the Atlanta airport. The entire process from the detection of the excessive wear by the sensor through the beginning of the download of the 3D design file has taken a grand total of 4 minutes. Upon completion of download of the design file, the 3D printer prints out the new part and has it waiting at the arrival gate 2 hours before the scheduled arrival time of the aircraft. When the plane arrives, it pulls up to the gate, the passengers disembark, the aircraft baggage is unloaded, the aircraft is refueled, and the new part is installed. And as soon as that installation clicks that part into place, the aircraft's autonomous maintenance system immediately kicks off a self-test process to verify that the part is working. On completion successfully of that self-test, it passes along confirmation of the successful self-test to the airline's global maintenance system, which in turn passes it through the procurement system to the smart contract. When the smart contract receives confirmation of the successful installation of the part, it automatically transfers payment for that part from the airline to the supplier of that part in real time. A little later, the flight departs from Atlanta to return to London on time without a single minute's delay, and with a new jet fuel injector to help ensure many more safe and reliable international round trips for that aircraft. So, what is it that enables this kind of innovation in business processes and business ecosystems? It's partly, but only partly, the technologies involved. We have tremendous things going on with 3D printing. We already have 3D printers that can print everything from the world's smallest lithium-ion battery that we see sitting on the tip of this pencil to this 400-pound bioplastic cornerstone used in the construction of a canal house in Amsterdam. Increasingly over the next few years, we are going to find an exponentially increasing amount of physical objects in our environment that will be created via 3D printing. There are already 3D printing capabilities that are demonstrating to print 100 times faster than current state-of-the-art 3D printers can handle. And right here in the UK, at the University of Warwick, Simon Lee and his team have already identified a way to, within the same pass as 3D printing an object, 3D print electronic circuitry directly into that object. What this means is that increasingly as we go forward, we will be able to manufacture objects via 3D printing with all the necessary Internet of Things circuitry already embedded in the object. It won't be a matter of what is it going to cost us to attach computer devices to the outside of physical objects, especially very small ones. They'll be made as part of the Internet of Things to begin with. And within the next couple of decades, we'll evolve to a world where the majority of the physical objects in our environment, in fact, are aware and communicate with each other on a regular basis. And on occasional bases, communicate with we human beings when they feel there's something going on that we actually need to know about. Intelligent agent technology is leveraging tools like big data, natural language processing, associative memory, and machine learning, and continually reprocessing those capabilities to get stronger and smarter so that intelligent agents can think, decide, and act in ways very analogous to how humans act, especially within well-defined areas of responsibility. So the technologies are out there, and of course, we've got a room full of people here who are quite familiar with blockchain and the potential capabilities of smart contracts to take data coming in, take transactions coming in, act on those, make decisions, and generate outbound events or transactions as the case might be. So all the technologies we're talking about in this case, and in many, many other use cases that we can think about, are available for us to use or will be within the next few years as they continue to emerge. But the driving business factor, the factors that senior executives need to understand very well, is that the benefits to organizations come from digitally transforming business ecosystems, business models, and business processes. Not simply from the implementation of new technologies. It's not about force-fitting new technologies into your business. One of the concerns I have about blockchain are too many people think in terms of blockchain as being a technology that is used in the following way. Take the way our business operates right now. Don't change any of our processes. Don't change any of our systems or infrastructure. Slap blockchain technology on the outside of it and ta-da! We're going to have wonderful benefits. The fact of the matter is you have to rethink all of these things, and you have to see how blockchain is going to work with other current and emerging technologies to rethink the underlying processes and models of the business to get the full benefits. And then work from there to identify which are the technologies that are going to be needed to help you achieve those business models and processes most effectively. What we've done over the years is have learned that the digital transformation process can best be managed when you understand that you have a two-tiered challenge. If you're a startup business, great, you can use all the latest cool technology right from the get-go. But if you're an ongoing business, how do you keep the current business operating effectively at the same time that you put in place a strategy to allow you to digitally transform the business? How do you change the wheels on the car while you're running down the road? And we found that third horizon planning is a very effective tool for doing that. Now, first horizon planning is a typical planning that most businesses do today. It's about today's core businesses, including the enhancements to and extensions of that core business, improvements to operational efficiencies, process improvements, and so forth. Everybody keeps doing that. But then you step back and you do third horizon planning. You look down the road, depending on the size of your and complexity of your business, 3 to 5 years or more. What is a long-term vision of how your business could function with your core capabilities and in the markets that you serve, but as a digital enterprise within a digital ecosystem? It parallels today's first horizon planning, but without today's constraints. What that does is it gives you a time cushion. Enough time to say, if we look far enough out, we could redesign our business processes. We could re-architect our IT infrastructure. We could put new technologies in place. And we can rethink our business models and business processes in terms of what could we be doing, taking full advantage of all of these new emerging technologies. And you may come up with multiple possible scenarios. Then you're in a position to backtrack to second horizon planning, which says which seem to be the most likely and promising of those potential scenarios. And you've got to be able to divert some resources from your current activities and operations so you isolate them from short-term financial pressures to start developing the interim capabilities in terms of technical skills and in terms of process design for those things that are not part of how you operate today, but that you envision as being part of how you will want to operate in the third horizon a few years out. Traditionally, these skunk works, as they're sometimes referred to, have often not worked. And part of the problem is they isolate certain activities from the main line, but they fail to have a clear long-term vision as to where it's going. So to summarize digital transformation, it's planned and executed in 3 parts. The long-term vision, how you're going to evolve the core capabilities that you expect to be retained within that long-term vision, and then how do you develop and test and prove components of those capabilities that are new to you now, but that will eventually be merged with your core capabilities to deliver that long-term vision. Now, if you would like to find out more about the American Blockchain Council and how we can work with you to help prepare the market for blockchain technologies, please go to the AmericanBlockchainCouncil.org website, join the Blockchain Executive LinkedIn group. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, you can go to my personal speaking website and contact me if you'd like more information on any of this. And by all means, have a chat with me at the break. And at the end of the day, thank you so much.